Hey guys, here again with more sad news. I don't do a live stream for a week and then I come on 2 days in a row doing really sad news. Yesterday it was Dylan Rounds, but I guess in any negative there is a positive that Jim Brenner has finally been arrested and the justice process can start. But this is really sad news. This is really sad news. Human remains have been found in the search for Peter Baglin. So there's no formal identification as of yet. There's not really very much information as of yet. But somebody did tell me this afternoon, somebody left a comment on the video that I put up saying that the canal around the bridge area where Peter's remains were, not his remains, his bank card and his phone and his hat were found, is taped off. And I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find anything at all, not even one little post on Twitter. So I didn't run with it. I asked the person where they got that information from. I can only assume it's a local who walked by and saw it, because there was absolutely nothing till about an hour ago. And I have kept checking. And I went offline for an hour, got back, and the Manchester Evening News has posted. So it is true. So I do apologise for the person who told me that probably about, I don't know, 4 hours ago. No, probably more than that. 6 hours ago, somebody told me that. It's not that I didn't believe you. It's just that I have to have confirmation of, at least something before I can go with it. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. It's not going to be a long live stream. I said that last night, but this really isn't going to be a long live stream because I've got hardly any juice left in the battery on my laptop, and my charger's in the other room. So let's do some quick hellos and then we'll get into this. And it's really sad, just really, really sad. Artemis, hello. Sadie Louise, Holly, Shazza, Cecile, Karen, Sunshine, Mums Amore, Rexy, Casey, Helen, Elise, Purple AJ, Broken Goth Doll. Who else is in here? Island Girl, Boost, Spare. that's a long-winded now. Boost. Spanier, Boo Spanier, I'm not even going to try that. Cassiopeia, I think. Joe, Bellsong, Minnie, Jeanette, and Marilyn, CCC, Tracy, Camelot, Jackie, Angela, Keep It Real, Susan, Lynn, Claire, Melissa. Oh, we've got a few in. Vicky, Star, Max, Rhonda, Curious Kiwi, Stacy, The Night Sky, Kathy, RJ, Hope, Deborah, and Elle Lafferday, I think, and Moonlight View. I got right to the end of the chat then. Okay, so for those of you who don't know this case, I have been talking about him in other videos. So I haven't done one dedicated video about Peter's case. What I've been doing is because in some ways it's similar to Nicola Bulley in that somebody's just disappeared and, there's a few belongings found and nothing else, no sightings, nothing, but next to water. Very similar in the way that Nicola Bulley disappeared, except in Peter's case, there wasn't a dog that was signalling, signposting exactly where he was, or at least where he fell in. So I've been finding ways to talk about Nicola Bulley, and the actual reason I've made the video is actually to talk about Peter. But because Nicola, videos on Nicola are still very popular, I have been accused of clickbait, and yes, in some ways, I guess it is. However, I feel completely justified in doing this. Because, quite rightly, Peter's family have said, how is it that, you know, Nicola Bulley could get so much media attention, so much press attention, so much social media attention, and Peter, who has been missing a month longer than Nicola was, has got virtually none. He's had some local media, and, you know, a few people have been, you know, keep kind of updating on Twitter. But there's been next to no, you know, compared to Nicola. And Peter's wife, Michelle, said she understands it, that, you know, Nicola is an attractive young mother and Peter is a 55-year-old middle-aged granddad, right? She gets it. But for me, I knew full well that if I did a video just about Peter or kept publicizing information about Peter, it would have had a fraction of the views that doing it, putting Peter's story in with something, anything about Nicola Bulley. I could get Peter's story out more easily and more successfully. No, it's absolutely not about money. For those of I've blocked some people actually. For those people who think that I talk about views because of money, it's not. Of course I want views. Of course I want views on my videos. Who makes YouTube videos and doesn't want them to be seen? Come on, that's silly talk. But when you've got a story that you want to get out when somebody's missing, and you know full well that there is somebody, a recent case, that people will click on when they see that name in that title or that face on the thumbnail, they will click 10 times more readily than they would do about a story that they didn't know about. So I have clickbaited. I do apologize. Sorry, not sorry, because I've got Peter's name, Peter's face out there, and I think I've done 3 videos where I've done this. And yeah, sorry, not sorry. So for those of you who did catch those videos, Peter's been missing since the 28th of December. He's from a place called, small town called Boothstown, which is near Worsley, near Manchester. It's actually part of Salford. It's not technically Manchester, but it's in the county of Greater Manchester. Oh, my son went out and came straight back in. He forgot his coat. Can you go out and forget your coat? See you later. Are you back tonight? No. Oh, he's not even back tonight either. All right. So, yeah, he went out for a walk and he told his wife of 30 years, Michelle, that he'd be back soon. The last sighting of him was on a CCTV camera. I'll show you the image here. This was the last ever sighting of Peter. It's in a Texaco garage, a gas station in Boothstown on the main road, on the East Lancs Road in Boothstown. And he was buying, apparently he bought a small bottle of whiskey. There's no evidence that he drank the whiskey, so we don't know whether he drank the whiskey or he was intending on taking the whiskey home. We don't know that. But that's the last sighting of Peter. And there was a phone call with his wife, and he said he'd be home soon, and you know, and he was just kind of going for a walk to, you know, I don't know, contemplate life. Sometimes I do that. I just go for a walk, contemplate life, don't think about anything, just you know, to clear your mind and probably do that every day, to be honest. But he didn't come home. He didn't come home. So she called the police, and the following morning, his belongings were found on an embankment on Vickers Hall Lane. I've not got the map up, but I'm going to get the map up right now. Why is it not coming up? Vickers, oh, I spelled it wrong. Vickers Hall Lane, there we go. Okay, so this is Boothstown. And the canal goes, so this is Boothstown right here. and the canal kind of runs to the south of Boothstown. And Vickers Hall Lane goes over the canal, and his belongings were found on this embankment. I don't know which side, but his phone, his bank card. It's the bank card that troubled me. The bank card. You can drop your phone, you can drop your hat, but dropping all of these things, phone, bank card, hat, earphones, yeah. But sadly, remains have been found. Now, this is amidst a renewed search for Peter. A couple of days ago, and this is what I talked about in my video this morning, Greater Manchester Police. So this is only about 30 miles from me, but it's a different county. Like, I'm right on the border of Lancashire and Greater Manchester. So, yeah, I'm right on the border, like a mile the border is away from me. So this is Greater Manchester. So it's a different police force than those that investigated Nicola Bulley. So people don't need to come along and say, no, they're useless. They didn't find Nicola and now it's took them this long to find Peter. No, completely different police force. But yeah, they searched for him at the time. They did some searching in the canal. They had divers in. They had drones up. They had dogs. They did the whole thing, right? And they didn't find him. They canvassed the area, looking for CCTV, ring doorbells, etc. All the usual stuff, you know, that you do when someone's missing. Didn't find him. And then 28, so not even a week ago, a local search team were told about Peter's case, and they're actually from CHORLEY in Lancashire, so quite close to where I live. And they went and did a search of the canal, and they did a 3-mile stretch, with Vickers Hall Lane being kind of the midpoint. And they didn't find him either. And his daughter was really pleased, you know, that he's not there. You know, this search team has told us he's not there. Now, the search team did not say that. They're called Beneath the Surface. They did not say that. They said we can never say 100% that someone isn't there just because our sonar didn't find them. But they did a sonar search, 3-mile stretch of canal, and they found a lot of debris, fence panels, you know, things that people throw away and they end up in waterways. So I'm wondering, this has been a real puzzle for me, because I know that stretch of canal has been searched several times and he still hasn't been found. And the only explanation could be that his body's been trapped under debris and therefore it's not readily accessible to divers, and it's also not readily accessible to sonar either. So the body was actually found yesterday. So, but the news is only just coming out now. Like I said, it was about an hour old when I came live. So 19-20 hours. So it's not even an hour. It's currently 1:15. So it's only 55 minutes ago that this was posted, even though the body was found yesterday. So the person who came into my comment section earlier today, you were right. You were right. Police searching for missing Peter Baglin say they found human remains in an area around the Bridgewater Canal. Officers made the discovery on Saturday, 4th of March, around 10:45 a.m., following a further search of the area around the canal in Boothstown. So after Beneath the Surface, the private divers went on the 28th. Greater Manchester Police have been out there for the last 2 days. I think they did Friday and then they were going to do Saturday. And obviously they found a body. So the remains have not been formally identified. However, Peter's next of kin has been informed. And In the canal. In the canal. Artemis. Detective Inspector Michael Sharples of the Greater Manchester Police, Salford District, said, though we are not currently in a position to confirm this is Peter, our thoughts remain with his wife, Michelle, and his loved ones. We understand that the last 2 months have been extremely difficult for them, and this continues to be a distressing time for all of Peter's loved ones. Search teams made up of GMP personnel and colleagues from partner agencies such as the National Police Air Service, the Northwest Underwater Search Team, and Mountain Rescue have worked extensively to try and find Peter. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who assisted to date, and also to confirm that our inquiries will not stop until we have found the necessary answers for Peter's loved ones, for our investigation, and for coronial proceedings. Peter, 55-year-old from Boothstown, vanished 10 weeks ago after going out for an evening walk along the Bridgewater Canal to clear his head. On Sunday night, police tape remained at the scene, cordoning off the paths along the canal. Now, the source, the person that came to me, said that the tape is up near the bridge. So it's near the bridge. Now, that has not been said in the media. That's just what this person said to me, that it's near the bridge. So presumably near the bridge where his belongings were found. But allegedly, it's ITV saying near, not in. Okay, hold on. Because I took it to mean if the towpath is all cordoned off, then it's going to be in the canal, but it could be just off the towpath. So let's look, see if we can find anything further. So I don't want to say yes, definitely in the canal if it wasn't, but there's not that many. It's not that highly wooded, and with there not being leaves on the trees, you kind of think that if it'd been just off the towpath, surely it would have been found in 10 weeks. Given the amount of people who've been searching for him, you know, it's not just the police that have been out, it's, you know, local volunteers have been out. You're saying ITV? Find ITV. What, ITV News or ITV on social media? ITV. I don't think ITV Granada reports. Oh, my son's been crying about that. He supports Liverpool. 7-0. Please find body. Okay. Police searching for missing grandfather Peter Baglin, who disappeared almost 10 weeks ago after going out for an evening walk. Officers from the Greater Manchester Tactical Aid Unit made the discovery on Saturday, 4th of March 2023, just before 11, following a further search of the area around the Bridgewater Canal in Boothstown. Mr. Baglin from Boothstown in Worsley went missing, spotted on CCTV. Phone call later. So it's the same. It's the same quote. How would they miss his body out of the water? That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it has to be in the canal, or else it's not a heavily wooded area. You know, if you look at the look at this picture. So this is the towpath with the tape on it. Why is that there? Make that bigger. I mean, it's quite a wide towpath now. We'd have to be offsetting these trees. I guess there's undergrowth, but how would a body have been missed for 10 weeks, even just in that undergrowth, given the amount of searches? I mean, for the one, you know, sorry to be crude, but it would smell. It would smell. It says on there near the canal. Wow. Oh, near a canal. Yeah, you're right. Near a canal in Salford. Huh. Huh. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Huh. I guess we're going to have to wait for further information to come out. Can't find any divers being mentioned. No, me neither. It doesn't say found by dive team, does it? That is very interesting. So, tactical aid unit. What do they do? Let's have a look up. Police tactical. Right, this is Leicestershire Police, but I mean, it's just the first hit. Okay, so being part of the Force Tactical Support Team isn't for the faint-hearted. They help keep public order on match days, putting themselves in deep end between rival fans and the start. They also help conduct specialist searches connected to missing people, murders, and other major crimes, even royal visits. Could mean squeezing yourself down a drain 1 minute and wading through deep or fast-flowing water the next. There is certainly a lot of variety. So they do water searches. So that doesn't help us a lot. They do specialist searches. So I guess we're going to have to just wait for, if any further information comes out. Well, I mean, further information will come out. I would think so, Broken Goth Doll. Being in the water's the only explanation. Possibly hidden undergrowth not to be found. Yeah, but Max, it's not really deep undergrowth. I mean, it's not. Hold on. It's not like massive woods. If you hide in those undergrowth and die, you're going to be found because your body's going to decompose and it's going to smell. So anybody walking a dog along the towpath would smell it. A dog definitely would smell it. But I mean, this is Google Maps. When was this? The date always gets cut off. Well, it's telling me 2023, but I'm not sure I believe it. Like, it's wooded, but not thick woods. And they have searched these woods. There was volunteers. They had 60 volunteers out. I don't know whether it was last weekend or the weekend before. And the main place to search was the woods. So you've only really got like one line of trees. And then on this side, it's a field. This side's a field. And then this is just kind of rough undergrowth. You would easily find someone. Easily. That's not heavy wooded. That's farmland. That's all farmland. All the way up. It's a bit thicker there, but it's not very thick. You'd be able to see a body. Easily. So honestly, I think his body had to be in the canal. For him not to be found for 10 weeks, I think his body had to be in the canal for it to make sense, really. So the Manchester Evening News says in an area around the Bridgewater Canal, and then ITV saying near the canal. But it might be that they don't know. It might be that all you can see is the police tape. Like the person said to me earlier, why is this not moving up? What's this about? That it's near the bridge. It's near the bridge. So it might be they tape the towpath off to bring the body out, and the towpath and everything, like they've stopped traffic through for the whole weekend. But it does say the investigation isn't over, but they always say that. There's nothing suspicious at all. Nothing suspicious at all. So the process now will be exactly the same as that for Nicola Bulley. That a post-mortem will be done, an identity will be confirmed. As the family's been informed, I assume that they strongly suspect it's him, that, it's a gentleman, middle-aged man. I guess they're not looking for anyone else in the Bridgewater Canal at the current time. So the chances are it is Peter, but they have to have that formal identification. That will then go to a coroner. A coroner will decide. You can go and watch my live stream over on MichelleAfterDark about the purposes of an inquest, because exactly the same process will now happen for Peter. Different county, so it'll be a different coroner. However, it's the same process. So post-mortem, the coroner will open an inquest. The coroner will then most likely adjourn that inquest, ask the police for all of their investigative materials. The coroner will also have the pathologist report from the autopsy. They'll have all the relevant details from that, and they will then decide whether they'll get the autopsy first, open the inquest, decide whether an inquest is needed, and in this case it will be, because this is a sudden and unexpected and strange death. If the autopsy reveals any signs of a crime, then it will be sent back to the police and the Crown Prosecution Service for a possible criminal investigation. But if no signs of a crime are apparent, then the coroner will deal with that him or herself, and the inquest will be adjourned until the an actual result of the entire investigation is done. So they'll put a date in the diary, like Nicola Bulley's is in June. So they'll put a date in the diary for that inquest so that everybody knows, what they're working towards. And then the inquest will be, it's not a criminal court, it's a coroner's court. It's not there to apportion any blame. So if there's any sign whatsoever of a crime, as in Nicola Bulley's case, it will be referred to the CPS and the police for a potential homicide investigation. But yeah, it's likely that this is either going to be an accident, a suicide, or if they can't tell, they know it's not a crime, but they can't tell. There's no note or anything like that. I don't know whether there is. There may well be. I don't know. Then they'll record an open verdict. Was the body found near Peter's possessions? Apparently so, but that's not what the media are saying. That's just what I heard. That the crime scene tape, or the police tape, shouldn't say crime scene tape because it's likely not a crime, to be honest. I mean, it could be, but it's likely not. I don't know. It could be. The police tapes near the bridge, and the belongings were found on this embankment here. So this is Vickers Hall Lane. This is the bridge of Vickers Hall Lane that goes over the canal. So his belongings were found. I don't know which side they were found at, but apparently so. But don't quote me on that. Thank you for the $4.99. Thank you for highlighting cases are less publicised by the mainstream media. Everyone must watch Michelle's psychology video. Yeah, go and watch the video that I made yesterday about the psychology of familicide. If you're interested in family murders, you know, you might be sick to the back teeth feeling about Murdoch, but it's not about Murdoch. Murdoch was one of my examples. So if you're interested in family murder, then go and watch it. So yeah, there will be a formal identification. Now, obviously, it's not massively high profile like Nicola Bulley's. So I doubt we're going to get a press conference. I mean, it's possible we do. But the Greater Manchester Police will announce that the remains are that of Peter, if indeed they are. And then, like I said, the process is, and the autopsy is performed. The probably likely going to be Monday. They might do it today. They might have done it today. I don't know. But yeah, they open the inquest. If it's a crime, the inquest is closed and the case is referred back to the CPS and the police. If there's no sign of a crime, then the coroner adjourns the inquest pending an investigation, and basically that is just the police giving over everything that they've got to try to determine the cause and the manner of death. Like obviously the autopsy will determine the cause more than likely, but the manner, you know, the police might find evidence that you know, there's a note, or they might find evidence that Peter's been having suicidal thoughts and he's told lots of people. So those are the kind of things that the coroner will pull together and will probably conclude that in those circumstances, it's a suicide. If there's no sign of anything like that, then they might either say accidental death or leave it as an open verdict. If he was on land, it will change everything. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. I agree with you there. I absolutely agree with you. I do absolutely 100% agree, because if he's on land and he's been on land for 10 weeks, I can't see how that can have been concealed if his body's actually been there for 10 weeks. That does not make sense. So yeah, that would be a very, very different story, in my opinion. Yeah, 28th of December. 28th of December he went missing. So it's 10 weeks. Nearly 10 weeks. Yeah, it's there's so many of them though. I'm just trying to publicize as many missing people as I can. So many are out there. That's why I've been not doing videos about Peter per se, but doing videos that's got Nicola Bulley's name and Nicola Bulley's face, and talking about Peter within that. I used to do that when Summer Wells was big, when the Summer Wells case was big and everybody was watching Summer Wells videos. go back and look at a few of my old Summer Wells videos, because I used to quite often tag in information about other missing kids, like Michael Vaughan. I used to talk about Michael Vaughan, Cody Bigsby, Lena Keel, like kids who were of a, similar age, disappeared under, just mysterious circumstances, and no one knew what happened. I mean, we know what likely happened now with Michael Vaughan, but in the first few months of Summer's case, we had no idea what had happened to Michael Vaughan. But I used to put Summer's name and Summer's face on the title and on the thumbnail. And yes, I'd talk about Summer, but I'd also talk about other missing kids. It's what you got to do to get people's attention. It's what you got to do. So if you think it's clickbait, then yeah. Yeah, dogs were deployed early on, yeah. So I honestly think the only thing that makes sense is that he was in the canal, but the media are not reporting that he was in the canal because they didn't physically see him in the canal. So therefore, they're going to keep it pretty vague, aren't they? Yeah, it is. I think it is. I know I'm not the only one who does it either. Like, you don't just put someone's name and face on your video and then not talk about that person at all. That would be clickbait. If I put Nicola Bully's name in the title and Nicola Bully's face on my thumbnail and then just did not mention anything at all to do with Nicola Bully, and I talked about a different case, yes, that's clickbait. But today I spent half the time talking about Nicola, and it was something nothing story. But then I talked about Peter, and I said right at the beginning, what I really want to talk about in this video is Peter. But I did half and half, and it was about almost the same time, half and half. But I wouldn't have made that video if it hadn't have been for wanting to make a video about Peter. I wouldn't have made a video about Nicola Bully, because it's a something and nothing story about the mainstream media are now being holier than thou about social media. And I'm not saying social media have behaved well at all in the Nicola Bully case, but the mainstream media have behaved just as badly. But now the Daily Express is being all holier than thou about social media. So that was my but I wouldn't have talked about that if it hadn't been that I wanted to say there's been an update in Peter's case, and the police and the divers are out there again, and they'll be out there for the next few days. But obviously, little did I know then that Peter had already, a body had already been found, because it wasn't made known until this evening. Some creators do just that. What put like Nicola Bully on the thumbnail and then don't talk about Nicola Bully at all. I don't think that's right. You shouldn't do that. That's clickbait, and yeah, that's that's not good. Still can't confirm water. Still can't find a confirmed water. Might the police be holding back details for the family's sake? Possibly. Or it might be that the police haven't released any details other than that statement that I read out. So the statement was, hold on a minute, I'm sharing them. The statement was, Detective Inspector Michael Sharples of the GMP Salford District said, though we are not currently in a position to confirm this is Peter, our thoughts remain with his wife Michelle and his loved ones. We understand that the last 2 months have been extremely difficult for them, and this continues to be a distressing time for all of Peter's loved ones. Search teams made up of GMP personnel and colleagues from partner agencies such as the National Police Air Service, Northwest Underwater Search Team and Mountain Rescue have worked extensively to try to find Peter. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has assisted to date and also to confirm that our inquiries will not stop until we have found the necessary answers for Peter's loved ones for our investigation and for coronial proceedings. So that's the coroner's inquest. So that's all they've got. So that's the quote they've got from GMP. So they've not said he was found in the canal, or they've not said. So therefore, the police and the media are not going to make stuff up that the police haven't said. But I'm guessing that the police will release that information. Surely it's not incredibly sensitive information, like where he was found. Yeah, they probably are. Actually, you're probably right that they're wary of releasing too much info. Yeah, I mean, you could be a bit what's the word? A little bit cynical here and say that the police have only gone out again to search for Peter because a private dive team has been there. And they're probably thinking, oh, they've watched what's happened in the Nicola Buller case, and they've probably thought we're going to get ahead of this. If private dive teams are going to go out there, maybe we should actually get out there as well. I don't know. You could be cynical. Maybe they had this search planned. Anyway, who knows? But it's just good, just that little bit of publicity on social media has instigated Beneath the Surface, the private divers, to go there. And then we've had a few days after that, we've had a police search, which has resulted in the finding of a body. And honestly, I don't mind who finds these people. I don't care whether it's the police, whether it's a member of the public, whether it's a private diver. I don't care who finds them, as long as they are found. I don't think the family are going to care who finds them as long as they are found. So whatever it takes to keep their name and their face out there, because that keeps the police on it then. And I'll say that for every single missing person out there, for the families of these people, for the loved ones of these people, stay on it. You've only got to see the Dylan Rounds case and just how well Candice, Dylan's mother, has stayed on it, getting his name out there, holding the police, holding their feet to the fire and saying, you've got to do something to find my son. If it hadn't been for Candice and Justin, Dylan's case would have been forgotten by Box Elder County. We talked about this yesterday on my live stream. How many missing people have been reported in the area? I don't know, but it's not going to be a lot. In Worsley, it's only a small place. And, is there someone else missing in the Bridgewater Canal who's been missing about the same time? No, there isn't. Washed into a drain. I don't know because because as the Greater Manchester Police said in their latest update that I talked about in my video this morning, they said that stretch of canal is unique, and I wasn't really sure what they meant by unique. And a few people responded to me in the comments with their thoughts on what they meant by unique, but I'm still not really sure. Absolutely, she is, Artemis. Candice Cooley is a fierce mama bear. She absolutely is. And she needed to be. She needed to be. And everybody with a missing person in their family has got to be an advocate for that person, or else they will get forgotten, because there's so many missing people who don't get any recognition at all. Any at all. They announced it's Peter. Have they really? Canals are dangerous. They are absolutely dangerous. Very dangerous. Very dangerous. Because some of them are really deep. And they tend not to have like overhanging branches. They tend to have towpaths. And the man-made structures. So the sides are like sheer up and down. So if you fall into a canal, it's difficult to get out. And then people have thrown so much debris in them over the years that they're dangerous. I read that. I'm going to have to read it again because I know you know about water, so I'll listen to you. But I'm no expert on canals. I mean, I know the basics about rivers because we were taught it in school. We did a whole, like, God knows how long, it felt like forever, on rivers. We did this massive project on rivers. And I've never forgotten it. It's just basic information. All right, I'm going to go to Twitter to see whether it has actually been confirmed that it's Peter. Hold on a minute. There's nothing that's on Twitter. It's still the same. Let's do hashtag. So Salford Police announced it 2 hours ago. Give them a follow. Searching for Peter Baglin have sadly discovered human remains. No, it's still saying that the remains have not formally been identified yet. As with Nicola, if he has been in the water for that long, it will be identification via dental records. And if he's not got up-to-date dental records, then they'll have to go with DNA. Meanders. He got taught about meanders. Yeah, meanders and oxbow lakes and, oh yeah, all that. It seemed forever. But we didn't get anything on canals because it was, canals are man-made structures. So we did canals in history. But, it's not about the the water dangers of canals. It's just about the history of them. Dawn, we've had that long discussion. It's said in the media that it was found near the canal, but we don't know. We've had a discussion on how if he was in the woods, it's not heavily wooded at all. So this is Google, but there's one line of trees along the edge of the towpath, and then it's fields, it's farmland, most of it, and then this is kind of just brush. So if a body's been in there for 10 weeks, I can't see how it has been, but it hasn't been stated where the body was found other than near the canal. But I've got Manchester Evening. This is Manchester Evening News that I've been reading, and there's no formal identification unless Manchester Evening News have released something new. which I guess is possible. Human remains have been discovered in the search for missing Peter Baglin, who disappeared just after Christmas Day. All remains have yet to be formally identified. I think they'll only do the autopsy tomorrow, because today's Sunday, past hour. Peter Baglin, human remains near canal. Police search an area near the Bridgewater Canal, 10:48, when the discovery was made. Police said the death is being treated as unexplained. It's not suspicious to say it's unexplained. So that's the same quote. So although we're not currently positioned to confirm this is Peter, our thoughts remain with his wife. So I think they'll possibly release that maybe. If he's got up-to-date dental records, then they'll be able to ID from dental. If not, then they'll have to wait for DNA. I did a long live about Sean Doherty. Oh, wrong one. There we go. I did a long live about Sean Doherty a while ago, and I haven't got any further information since then. So just go and check out that live. Just type Sean Doherty in the search on my channel, and it'll come up. Some areas on land had to be searched by drone as they were inaccessible to get to. What they mean by that is private properties, that it's not inaccessible, it's not difficult terrain. What they mean is they can fly a drone over private properties because, it's easier. That's what they mean. So all reports say found near to the canal and also following a search of the land. We're going to have to wait and see, because if he was found on land and not in the canal, it's a very, very different investigation. Very different investigation. Because how on earth could a body be missed in that area, given the amount of people that have searched that area? Police, dogs, volunteers. How? Whereas in a canal, I can understand how a body would be missed because of the debris. If a body gets trapped under debris, it's difficult for divers to get to that body. And also sonar won't pick it up either. So it's if it's on land, it does not make sense. That's a very, very different type of investigation, in my opinion. If on land in brambles, well, maybe, but maybe. Because obviously, search dogs, if it's like really spiky, a search dog's not going to go in, but they could still smell, like a cadaver dog would still smell that scent, even if it would still alert, even if the body was inaccessible for it to get to. Dead bodies smell. They really smell. You wouldn't believe what's in these canals. I would. I remember them draining parts of the Rochdale Canal through Manchester, and they do it periodically to clean them out. And honestly, the amount of stuff that they found in the Rochdale Canal was insane. It's really bad. Like, humans just contaminate everything. They really do. Yeah, the tattoo. Yeah. Yeah. It would be a good idea. Good morning from Australia. The last video was about this. Yes, it was. And a body's now been found. The body was actually found yesterday, just wasn't released. So, wasn't released till today. The police have only made a statement today. But it's really sad. But hopefully, you know, it's not a formal ID as of yet, but I can't imagine it's going to be anyone else, honestly. The report said drones were used for that reason, so seemed reasonable to me. Yeah, drones are used, though, to go over, like, because it's a town, you know, there's backyards and stuff. Rather than getting permission to search every single backyard, they just fly a drone over. But it's not heavy, really, really heavy terrain. It's not, the terrain isn't any worse than what I walk in every day. Well, when I go to the woods, it's only that kind of terrain. It's not, you know, you're not talking about miles and miles of, you know, inaccessible forest that you have to use a machete to, you know, cut down every single footstep. It's not. Even a small creature decaying makes a noticeable smell. I know. I know. Yeah. When my cats were younger, I mean, they're old now. They used to go and kill mice and birds and stuff and bring them in, and then you could smell something, and you were like, "What's that?" It's, you know, and they'd hide them. You know, they'd bring a mouse, and it's a tiny little thing, and they'd hide them, and you're like, "Oh, it stinks," and you're like trying to locate it. You know, it's like, "Oh, it stinks." Yeah, so even a tiny, tiny mouse, really, really, really bad, and it's an unmistakable smell. Unmistakable. I mean, me and my friends found a dead dog once in the fields, and going back like we were kids, and we could smell it like all the way down the bottom of this hill. We're like, "Oh, that's a dead body, that." That's a dead body. And we were looking all over for this dead body, and then we found a dead Jack Russell, which was really sad, but it absolutely stunk, and we could smell it way down the hill. Way down the hill. It's this unmistakable smell, and you can't get it out of your nose either. Like, it just smells so bad. But yeah, it would be a very, very, very different investigation if he really was found on land. Anyway, I'm going to call it a day because my laptop is now on 3%. So I'm going to get cut off. If I don't say goodbye now, I'm going to get cut off. So I will do another live. If there does happen to be a press conference, I'll go live. If the ID is announced tomorrow, I may do it in a live. I may just do it in a short video. I've not decided yet, but I will let you guys know on here and on social media that the ID has come in. And there's another case that I want to get into as well. It's someone called Bryn Hargreaves. So this is both relevant to the UK and the US. So Bryn Hargreaves is going to start digging into his case, and that really is an absolute mind bender. Really, really confusing case. So I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you so much to the people who donated. I don't know if I've had any mods in, but thank you anyway if you modded for me. We've been a really good chat today. I'll see you very soon. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Before I disappear, I'm going to go.